Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tina from TinaHeals.com, and today we are discussing an Aries ascendant or an Aries rising, a Sagittarius moon, and a Capricorn sun. So you have your rising sign in cardinal fire ruled by Mars, the red planet, which is volatile, turbulent, deals with our libido and with our action principle. So you're definitely the archetype of the pioneer because you're the first sign of the zodiac, You're as pioneering as it gets. And your moon is immutable fire, and you're forever the eternal, and you're forever the gypsy at heart, forever the eternal gypsy. No matter how many superlatives you add there, you get the point that you are forever the gypsy at heart. You hate being confined, and you like everything that's expansive because you're ruled by Jupiter, So everything must be expansive for you. And you are the archetype of the philosopher, and you have a 9th house moon. Now you have a 10th house sun. You're born for public life, and this is cardinal earth, the domain of Saturn. So, and 10th house is social recognition and career and prestige and leadership. So yeah, and Capricorn's the archetype of the leader. So the pioneer, the philosopher, and the leader. So let's see how we can piece that together. So the degree of the zodiac rising on the eastern side of the horizon at the moment of your birth is your ascendant degree. And the sign on which it falls is your rising sign. And your rising sign is sort of like the armor you wear to interact with the world. It's the Jungian mask, the persona that you interface with, you interface through, and it is how the world perceives you. It's your physical body, it's how you look, it's your hand gestures and other idiosyncrasies. It is a sum total of your being in 3D, and a very important part of your natal chart, the most important part of your natal chart if you ask me. Sun, moon, ascendant, the Holy Trinity. So when you walk into a room with that purposeful Aries stride and the edgy look in your eyes, everyone can see you are not gonna listen to anyone. You want your way, it's my way or the highway with an Aries rising. And they can be the dominant, they want to be, starting very many things, hopping over from relationship to relationship, situation to situation. They don't like to be bogged down anywhere. They like the chase. If there's someone they like the chase. And of course, Mars being also a libido, they can be very fiery in bed, and they definitely like to be the dominant. Now, you are the infant of the zodiac. You're the first sign. The Aries is a sign of spring. It rules the head. So with infancy comes a streak of selfishness, because the infant understands self-preservation. So as eminent astrologer Stephen Forrest puts it, the goal of Aries should be enlightened selfishness. And then, you become the true visionary you're meant to be. And you rise above pettiness and selfishness, and you can see the bigger picture. Your Sag moon is showing you the bigger picture at the end of the day. So, Aries is a promise of renewal. It is the sign of spring. And when your soul is born in Aries, it's craving for a new directionality. But the agitating parts of Aries are anything but soothing and calming. They're turbulent, they're volatile, but they bring with them a promise of spring, okay? Now, Aries rules the head, so it's a very important part of your identity. You like to accentuate it, maybe, streak your hair, highlights, red lipstick, maybe stylish shades or whatever. And very well-defined features, sharp, prominent features. And even tons of women with this placement keep their hair short. They just like it functional. And even the build of the women, they're just more squarish and tons of testosterone. So with Aries comes a lot of anger, violence, and energy. Why? Because we don't know how to use that energy. It becomes anger and violence. So use the Martian energy before it burns you up. You must know how to burn it. Exercise is a must, must, must for all of Aries ascendants. It is something you've got to do. Now also, since Aries rules the head and Virgo is your 6th house of health, and it rules digestion and the nervous system, be careful of what you put in your mouth and the state of your mind at that moment. Otherwise, you can have chronic headaches, persistent acne, ENT issues, sensitivity to gum and teeth. Maybe even eyes can deteriorate, hair can, become fragile and brittle and break easily. Virgo can be quite the warrior. So control your nerves and work through. I won't say control, it's such a pejorative word. Work through your anxiety issues, okay? And pranayam, breath work, switch words, meditation, listening to music, just dancing or hiking. I mean, your Sag moon would love that. Also during difficult aspects, and the placement of Mars will tell you everything, the whole story. Your illnesses, the kind of anger you hold inside of you, and all of that, okay? Now when Mars, transiting Mars is hitting your personal planets, be careful of guns, heavy machinery, driving under the influence, and road rage and all of that. It can, become ugly at that point. Now the moon is a very private part of us. It is our instinctual habit patterns. It's our emotive interface. It's a mother. It's our childhood. It's everyday habit patterns. The moon rules the breasts and the stomach. So the ideas that, the archetypes of the moon is all about nourishment, whether be it physical, mental or spiritual. We need nourishment where we have the moon. And with your 9th house moon, you're never quite happy anywhere. You always want to shift and slide and move and, go somewhere else. You're done with it, you're over, you're bored. You can get confined into doing things, and that's it. You want to break out and you want to, get out of there. You don't want to continue something that is a 9 to 5. You hate that. Now Sagittarius rules your hips and your thighs and your pituitary gland. So your moon is literally there in your hips and thighs and your pituitary gland. Emotional stress can bring about pain there, or may even destabilize the functioning of the pituitary gland, which is like a mother gland actually. Deals with breastfeeding, oxytocin production, fertility, menstruation, thyroid. So if you're having any hormonal imbalance, it could be because your moon is not balanced. You need to look at your moon. With the Jupiter ruled moon, you're forever the optimist. You see the most sunny side of life. You love expansion. You love looking at the bigger picture. You need change and variety. Otherwise, you will get bored. Okay, even in relationships, you need change and variety. And for a woman, the moon signifies the woman he needs. For a man, sorry. And for a woman, the moon signifies the partner she needs. So it could be a foreigner, because Sagittarius has to do with faraway lands and foreign cultures and foreign people. And when you truly mix with the foreigners, you integrate, or you fall in love, you really grow exponentially. And there is a deep satisfaction you get from this interaction. And there is a hint to this. It's because you're very close to all of Earth's creation. Your soul ruler is Earth. And the soul ruler of Aries is Mercury. So everything about Aries is not Martian war and strife and lust and libido. It's about Thoth-Hermes, or higher wisdom, Now, you need to be free because you're a free spirit. You need to roam from place to place. So if you don't have a job that helps you do that, or if you're not doing something by yourself, then you could feel very stifled. So find something you can teach, because you are the eternal student as well as the eternal teacher. You're the philosophers. The philosophers are always learning, and what they learn, they want to pass it on to others. Jupiter is the great benefic, and he's the archetype of the teacher. Also, Sagittarius glyph is an arrow with a piece of the bow, but it used to be a centaur in the old days, linking Sagittarius to Chiron, the wounded healer. So, and if you honestly ask me, Sagittarius is a very anchoring energy that we don't always observe. It might have to do with the black hole at the center of our Milky Way, and that is what anchors us in space, the black hole. So this is something that we need to work through archetypes and gain more understanding as we journal. But it's definitely a very anchoring influence somewhere. Although they're restless, they're free spirits, they want to roam, they don't want to make a home. But if you really love the Sagittarian, something about them feels like coming back home. Okay, and now sun. The sun is our vitality, our magnetism. It's our conscious awareness, our soul's purpose. It's a reason why we are here. Okay, it's a healthy sense of I am. It's how we shine. It's our leadership skills. It's our father. Sun does very well in Capricorn. It's a strong placement for the sun. And this is, yes, it is. It's you're definitely meant for public life, and you're meant to be maybe a politician, or Saturn. This is Saturn's domain, and Capricorn rules all hierarchies. So you're meant to climb that hierarchy. But Capricorn, never forget, is about self-mastery. Capricorn has 3 archetypes. The mountain goat, the sea goat, which is tied to Ea, the antelope of the oceans of ancient Babylon that gave humanity knowledge. And finally, the unicorn. So your journey is to finally become the mythical unicorn. With the 10th house sun in Capricorn, you are powerful. Look at the placement of Saturn. Actually, if you look, and you have the lesser malefic and the greater malefic, Saturn and Mars, playing in your chart. Actually, you need to look at the placement of Mars and Saturn in your chart, and you will be able to see your illnesses, your bad fortune. Okay, it's also important with the time, sometimes certain planets do well in the morning and some planets do well at night. Mars does better in a day chart than in a night chart. Saturn does better in a night chart. So you have to piece together the whole story by looking at signs, houses, aspects, dispositions, and so much more. So I hope I've piqued the interest. Hop over to my website to check out all the readings I offer, and check out my merchandise. This is Tina from Tina Hill saying bye. Take care.